This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. The holidays are over, the decorations are down, and suddenly everything feels a little empty. It's normal to feel the winter blues after the holiday excitement. January, February, and March are by far my least favorite months of the year. It's cold and dark, and I have to get some extra vitamin D on board. I also need to keep my regular scheduled appointments with my therapist. So if you're feeling that post-holiday funk, I definitely suggest you checking out BetterHelp because maybe it's time to talk. You might also be one of those people like me who makes New Year's resolutions and you get super motivated. So maybe you need someone behind you to hold you accountable and come up with a plan to meet your goals. BetterHelp is super convenient, totally online. You have a therapist right at your fingertips whenever you need them. So head over to betterhelp.com/wifeofcrime1 to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/wifeofcrime1 for 10% off your first month.
This podcast is an unscripted, unedited conversation about true crime. We take the cases very seriously, but I don't take myself seriously at all. And neither should you. Welcome to Wife of Crime.
So, Russ, we haven't talked about a serial killer in a while now. But a few episodes ago, we talked about a guy in the Bronx who had a foot fetish. And it reminded me of a serial killer who had a women's shoe fetish. Now, I'm not one of those people who think serial killers are cool or anything, but this guy's psychology is actually pretty fascinating. This is the case of Jerry Brudos. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Wife of Crime, a true crime podcast where I tell my husband, Russ, true crime stories and he reacts to them.
What's up, folks? It's your boy Russ, a.k.a. Straight Outta Work to the podcast.
Yes. And I'm Jess, a.k.a. I had the day off. Look at that. Poor guy. I do feel
That's
bad.
Annoying.
I feel bad for you. Coming straight home, he worked a 12-hour day, and he's coming here to record for you guys because we love you guys.
Because what I do, I'm a profiler now, so I can't let people down.
It's true. You can't let them down. You can't let the folks down. Well, I have to do a segment that we haven't done in a while. Do you know what that segment is?
It's a segment that you refuse to do in real life between me and you. It's called Jess Messed Up. You only do it for the podcast. What I think I need to get you to do it probably is maybe a comment section for our life. Because the comment section, she's like, oh no, someone said I did this wrong.
Yes.
Because Jess is it's Jess, a.k.a. Miss Always Right.
Well, because we record our podcast in one shot, just a reminder for everyone, we don't do multiple takes. We record this podcast in one shot, and we edit out mouth noises and like occasional dumb things.
Sometimes a fart.
Yeah, or a burp. Russ burps a lot because he's drinking beer the whole time, so I edit out all the burps. You're welcome.
Jess farts.
No, I don't.
Yeah. A lot in your sleep.
Shut up.
She holds it in all day. Guarantee soon as she goes to sleep and her muscles relax.
I hate you. Anyway, we only do this podcast in one shot. So that means we have a lot of mistakes. And
Not me.
Don't worry. The people will tell us about it. And I appreciate it. I do. I appreciate being corrected because some things are like, a big deal. Like when I mess up. Some things are really nitpicky.
Some things are weird that people say you messed up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're like, it wasn't a blue car, it was a green one. Or like,
something weird.
Like, first of all, most of the time it has nothing to do with it. Or like,
true.
Or like, it wasn't 9:10 p.m. You got the time wrong by a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And Jess is like, oh no, it was a minute. And I'm like, tell them shut up.
Well, we're doing a Just Messed Up. Womp, womp, womp. So, my first item for Just Messed Up is last week during the Ray Rivera episode, we talked about unsolved mysteries, and I called the host Robert Slack, and his name is Robert Stack, not Slack. So I wanted to correct that because he is, infamous. I mean, everyone knows him as the Unsolved Mysteries host.
You could have told me his name was D's Nuts, and I would have believed you.
True, because you have no idea.
I have no idea. You could have said anything.
That's true. So
and that's
Robert,
my favorite joke, by the way.
It is Russ's favorite joke. So Robert Stack is his name. And I'm actually correcting myself on this next item. No one even corrected me, but I'm going to do something that's very rare in our lives. And
Admit when you're wrong?
I'm going to say Russ was right.
Ding, 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 ding. I'm going to open a fresh beer for that one. Jesus.
Because one of my favorite shows of all time ever is The Wire. And Russ said, The Wire came out in early 2000s. And I said, no, it didn't. It came out in the 90s. But it didn't. It actually aired its first episode in 2002.
What's
so
crazy,
you were right.
Everything I say in real life, you go, no, it's not. And then sometimes, there was not too long ago, where I said something, a lot of times I know, I'm not going to say something unless I know it's a fact. I'm not just making shit up. Sometimes I make shit up for fun.
You are making shit up a lot.
That's true. But when I'm telling you something that's a fact, your response is always, you caught yourself not too long ago going, no. And then you're like, oh, wait. I didn't mean to say no. It's just your natural reaction.
To disagree with
you.
To
shit on me.
Oh, no. Just to disagree. But I don't shit on you.
It doesn't mess with my self-esteem because I know I'm smart and I'm always right.
I'm just here to humble you, man. Okay.
So, did you see...
Wait, I'm not done.
Oh.
The last item is from your brother, David.
Hashtag fuck Dave. Put it in the comments.
I will not say his last name. David, Russ's brother. He wanted to point out the fact that I called the Freemasons. He said that I called it a sorority instead of the first fraternity. So I just wanted to tell Dave, here you go. Here's my Just Messed Up. And you're being very nitpicky. Please stop. Everyone know what I meant, Dave.
That's so stupid. I said that kind of making fun of them because when you have to, I think sororities and Ferrarities or whatever they are. Yeah, one of them's for a girl, one of them's for a boy. I think they're all dumb because I don't have to perform any acts to be friends with anyone. You're all just corns.
No, they're not all corns. There's a lot of people that listen that were probably in fraternities or sororities. It's a thing in college, but you didn't go to college, so you don't know how that works.
I didn't want to go to college.
I'm not saying anything bad, but I'm just saying you
No, but I have to earn my way in?
Yeah, you get hazed.
That,
All right. So those are my Just Messed Ups.
You should give me money to hang out with them. They should pay me. So I could tell them, to stop wearing those thong sandals. All those boys wearing the thong sandals. You guys got to stop that.
Everybody wears that, Russ. No. Outside of New York, everyone wears regular flip-flops.
Stop those fashion crimes wearing your camo cargo shorts with your thong sandals. Fellas, stop it. Your pickup truck's all right, but stop the thong sandals.
With the camo shorts.
Don't matter. Don't wear those.
All right. I actually think I have a picture of you on my Instagram in a pair of camo shorts.
Yeah, but I had J's on.
Okay.
I was ready to go to war. It's the Bronx.
Well, Russ the stylist speaks.
Yeah, don't wear those. I don't care who's wearing them.
But everybody wears those type of sandals outside of New York. You just have never been outside of New York, but for 5 minutes, so you don't know that.
But New York is the fashion capital of the world, so I'm just spreading the news. Everyone in New York's probably chill, Russ, let them be corns while we stay fresh. And now, slides are better.
Okay, slides are better.
Men don't wear anything that says thong.
Okay.
Unless...
No one calls them thongs. They call them flip-flops. Flip-flop.
Flip-flop them to the garbage.
Okay.
All right. So, not too long ago, we were talking about Jess had that interaction with the dude sneaking, taking pictures of her feet at Target.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so in New York right now, as far as like on June 4th, there is a dude recently, he's been doing it since January, and he's going around New York City. He's done it 3 times, stealing one shoe off women's feet and then running.
Oh my God.
And if you had to take a guess which borough this is happening in, which one would you guess?
Which borough this is happening in? I would guess the Bronx.
Me too. But thank fucking God the Bronx isn't taking this L. We take so many L's.
Okay.
For L's is losses, by the way. We take so many L's for the crazy, weird shit we do. Mm-hmm. But it happens in Brooklyn and Queens.
That's crazy.
So he's grabbing their foot, taking one shoe.
Just one shoe.
One shoe, and then he runs. And they see him, there's pictures of him hopping the turnstile with one shoe in his hand. He just dips out with one shoe.
Oh my God. Well, you want to hear something crazy, Russ?
No, wait, I'm not done.
Okay.
So I was like, damn, now they probably got to get him because that's how crimes start. Mm-hmm. And he did it to 3 people. But I was wondering, is it a foot fetish? Or do you think maybe he has like a mom that only has one leg and he don't want to...
Does he take the same side? Does he take always the right shoe or always the left shoe? That would be a good investigative question.
Yeah, because he casually walks away with it. There's like videos. They know who it is. Like they don't know his name or whatever, but he casually just walks down the street. Like he doesn't really run.
Does he look homeless?
Nah, he got clothes.
Oh, he like looks like a regular person.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he takes one shoe and he's done it to 3 people.
Do you want to hear something even more crazy? The killer that we're talking about today has a shoe fetish. So it's pretty crazy that you even brought that story up.
Yo, I got a shoe fetish.
You definitely have a shoe fetish.
Yeah, but it's my shoe.
I know. Well, the killer we're going to talk about later has a shoe fetish. So you bringing that story up is like super coincidental and really interesting. And people are definitely going to think we planned it because of the story I'm going to tell you in a little bit. Although you never know anyone. I could tell you some random name of a killer. You'd have no idea who it is.
You could tell me the same story 2 weeks in a row and I wouldn't remember last week's story. And I'm like, really?
That's not a lie, because the other day I literally said, oh, remember on the Ray Rivera episode? And he goes, who's Ray Rivera? I was like, the story I told you last week. And you're like, what story was that again? And I was like, the dude who went missing in Baltimore. And you were like, I don't remember.
The only Rivera I know is the Rivera that Rashid talks about in Def Comedy Jam, that Poppy's no snitch, Mr. Rivera.
Yeah.
I give you $5, you turn around. That's it. That's the only one I know.
Now it's time for you to do your jobs.
All right. Well, I just got out of work, and here's job number 2 and 3 for the day. So I guess I'll start with the patrons.
Yes. There are a lot of patrons this week.
There are a lot.
Which is a really good thing.
And I appreciate this. Hey, if you guys keep joining, I'll quit my job and do more podcasts.
Yeah, same.
Your boy don't want to work.
Same. We have about 30 plus episodes on there. We have some video episodes on there now.
And we give them some free stuff when they join some of
the tiers get free stuff. So we got a lot going on over there.
All right, folks. So these are the patrons this week. Bear with me. I appreciate all of you. It's Dixie, Amy, Myra, Autumn, Molly, Luis, Tara, Dominique, Timoth, Shauna, Eyes of an Aquarian, Ellie, Andre Love, that's like a pimp name, Brittany, Caitlin, Lori, Yvonne, Roy, Chelsea, Tamara, Tony, Jenny, Rachel, Taylor, Erica, Laura, Sierra, Amber, Sarah, Kiana, Lauren, Ro, Chanel, Annie, Nao, it's Dino.
No, Dino.
Dino. I was just handwriting. Melissa, Rick, Lee, Sabrina, Riley, Rachel, K. Russ 96. Good name, Russ. Alex, Noli, Jolene, Ariel, Elizabeth, Cody, Karen, and Nicole. So
Wow.
cheers to every one of you. That is amazing.
Yes. Cheers to you
I'm taking a
guys.
sip for you.
Thank you so much for joining. And if you guys are interested, you can go to patreon.com/wifeofcrimepod to join the Patron.
So now, every week I do a review of the week. Let me find it. All right. You review on Apple, and I might read your review.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I'm surprised about?
What?
That I haven't forgotten read the same review twice yet. I've been like, God damn, did I read that one yet?
I'm surprised about that too.
Okay, so this one is from, it says update. It's from CJG 1988. I'm guessing that's the year you were born. So it's 5 stars. It says, I agree with Jess. Zac Efron is a sexy beast and is a great actor. Rush, you're being a hater, but my friend from Boston makes fun of me for the same reason. Love you guys. P.S. I'm getting married in November in California. Can you guys make it? We're friends now. Duh.
I love that. And maybe we will crash your wedding. I've never been to Cali. I'd love to go.
If it's your first time, just letting you know, Jess's favorite actor of all time is Zac Efron.
No, it's not. I'm not going to keep addressing
put in the
this.
comments, I'm never letting it die. In the comments, hashtag Zac Efron the corn.
No.
Make it trend, folks.
He is not my favorite actor, but
like-
I'm not going to keep addressing it. I've told you that 500 times.
I feel like he's a little cross-eyed.
I don't think
There's
so.
nothing wrong with being cross-eyed, except I never know which eye to look at.
That is true.
That's the only problem.
It is hard sometimes when people are cross-eyed because then you feel weird. You're like, do they know I'm trying to figure out which eye to look at? It can be a little bit difficult.
Like, are they both seeing straight, or is like good peripheral vision? I'm dead serious.
I don't mean to laugh, but I really don't know. I don't know the answer to that
Because if you
question.
have better peripheral vision, then it's like a superpower.
That's true. It is like a superpower. You can be very observant.
Just let me know which eye to look at.
Okay. Serial killers. They are just the absolute worst, right? The worst. I actually have come to a place where I'm not fascinated by serial killers. I don't really care about reading about them anymore. But I put up a poll on Patreon, and this was a few weeks ago. And the winner of the poll was Love Gone Wrong. So 3 weeks ago, we did a Love Gone Wrong. And then the last episode, we did a Mysterious Death because that was the second choice. And then the third choice was a serial killer. And a lot of you sickos on Patreon voted for this one. You guys really want to hear about a serial killer. So I picked an infamous one, and it is a doozy.
It's interesting what they do. And the one time killers aren't as interesting to me because you could be angry and just have done something. Like, we've all been angry enough where we're like, oh, I could kill him.
Yeah.
Now, not all of us have acted. Some of you listening probably have. And you know what? I'm no snitch. So hopefully the person deserved it.
Well,
but don't kill anyone.
Yeah.
Unless they deserve it.
Obviously, don't kill anyone. The psychology behind this man is actually pretty fascinating, I have to say. He has been called the lust killer by many because, like Dennis Rader, a.k.a. BTK, who we covered years ago.
Didn't he wear like panties on his head or something?
Yeah, he wore women's clothing. His crimes were motivated by a fetish. So this serial killer is named Jerry Brudos. And he had a woman's shoe and underwear fetish that started at a very young age. But as you will see, the progression of his crimes are very apparent and methodical.
Want to hear a fun fact?
What?
Speaking of underwear, when we were talking about my brother Dave, when he was little, he used to go outside with a sword and his tighty whities on his head.
Dave's going to kill you.
Captain Underwear over here.
Well, this guy, Jerry Brudos, he had an obsession with women's underwear and shoes. And you can see throughout this story that his crimes definitely progress. Like, serial killers tend to start doing some weird shit as a kid, and then they progress and progress and progress until
Animals
they become until they become a serial killer. And you can really see the progression with this guy. And it's an example of how not getting something in check early and psychiatrists kind of dismissing these dark fantasies as simply harmless fantasies will have grave and terrifying consequences for society.
Yeah, it's like a STD. You got to catch it early or it turns bad, probably.
Yes, exactly.
Thank God I ain't never got one.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So Jerome Brudos was born in Webster, South Dakota on January 31st, 1939. Jerry had an older brother, and his mom really wanted her second baby to be a girl. But when Jerry was born and his mother saw that he was a boy, she was very angry about this. And for Jerry's entire childhood, she would tell him and everyone she knew how much she hated the fact that she had two boys and that she really wished Jerry was a girl.
Well, why not the first one?
She had her boy first and she wanted a girl next, but they didn't have these gender reveal parties. They couldn't figure out the gender until the day you're born.
Thank God no one has invited me to a gender reveal party. It's gotten to the point where people stopped inviting me to children's birthday parties and baby showers. Because, I went to a couple baby showers and your first kid, I'm with it, right? You got one. Oh, dope. You're having a kid. After the second one, I'm not supporting your habit. You're buying your own Pampers, your own beer all that. I'm not. That's it. Now it's a hobby. Yeah, like you're not buying me, VC for 2K so I could create a player.
I don't even know what that means.
Well, you create one player,
you don't
right?
Have to go, no, you don't have to go.
I'm going to finish.
Okay.
You create one player. So now I need another player, like a baby. Uh-huh. So now I need more VC. It's virtual currency, but you need that money to do another one.
Okay.
But I ain't having a shower to create myself another character in a game. Like I need another player.
Okay.
Same thing. These players are important to me.
All right. Well, Jerry's mom really wanted a girl. And after having her first boy, and then when Jerry was born, she saw that he was a girl. She was really upset about it, pissed about it. And she made it very apparent how pissed she was. His mother, just in general, treated him like garbage and made it very obvious that she didn't love him. She doted on his older brother, bragged about all the good things that he did, and bragged to others about his accomplishments. But when it came to Jerry, she barely even treated him like he existed. Now, this is the end of the 30s, right? He was born in 1939, which is still like the Depression era. And Jerry's father was a farmer in South Dakota, but wasn't making enough money for the family to survive. So they left South Dakota and moved to Oregon. His father searched for work, but had a really hard time finding a steady job. So the family moved around a lot all through Jerry's childhood, which created like a really dysfunctional and unsteady life for him.
That's tough. I guess his dad was looking for work. You can't knock someone for looking for work if they're out of work.
Oh, no, he was looking. He really was.
I just don't like him. If you ain't looking, then that's different. But if you looking, like...
Yeah. So when Jerry was around 5 years old, the family moved to Salem, Oregon. And his father was working 2 jobs at the time, so he was almost never home. So Jerry and his older brother were pretty much raised exclusively by their mom, Eileen. And remember, she was a shitty mom to him. Very cold, not loving, reminded him on a daily basis she wished he was born a girl.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
Because you don't choose what you're born. How about you should have made me a girl or something?
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird thing to be like super cold about and strange. It's very strange.
And back then, like...
You should be happy you had a healthy baby.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
So according to Jerry, this is the age, around 5 years old, when he realized that he had a bit of an obsession with women's shoes. One day, Jerry was playing in a local junkyard, and he found a pair of shiny patent leather high heels. He was incredibly fascinated by them. They were super shiny and...
That patent leather back then?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know, Russ. That's a weird question to ask.
I didn't
think so.
I didn't know patent leathers was a thing until Space Jam and Jordan came out with the patent leather 11 Jordans.
No, patent leather has been a thing for years.
And it really just looks like plastic.
It does. So he saw these patent leather high heels and he was incredibly fascinated by them. And he said that they looked nothing like the shoes his mother had at home. So Jerry brought the heels home. And that night, his mom, Eileen, saw that he had these high heels in his room and he was playing with them. And she was livid. She took them from him and threw them in the trash. But Jerry was only 5 years old and he was really confused. Like, why am I not allowed to have them? They're just shoes. He didn't understand why she was so upset.
And she wants him to be a girl.
And she always said how much she wished he was a girl. So Jerry was really, really confused by this. Later that night, when the family went to sleep, he snuck out to the trash can and got the shoes out of the trash and took them back to his room and kept them hidden away. He would bring them out and hold them. He would put them on his feet. He would walk around in them. They became like this treasured object to him that he loved so much.
Do you think he licked them clean like the guy on the subway licks the Air Force Ones?
I don't think so. But he loved these shoes. And he kept the shoes a secret for about a month. But then his mother found them in his room. She started a fire in the fireplace and she forced 5-year-old Jerry to throw his, beloved shoes in the fire and watch them burn.
It's not that big of a deal.
Yes, it's not that big of a deal to people like me and you. But, this, for Jerry, this was a pivotal moment in his psyche. So, because now the shoes are forbidden, which makes him want them even more. And he had this intense anger towards his mother. And he was also simultaneously becoming really confused about his sexuality. Like confused about why he loved these shoes so much. And all of these things kind of meshed together and created a very confusing situation for a kid. So by age 7, this obsession with a physical object had grown now to a curiosity about women and their underwear. And that all started coming together in almost like a fantasy type of way when he was 7 years old. And he kind of remembers, not that he knew at that time, like what a sexual urge was, because at 7, I don't think you have that yet. But he just knew that it excited him to think about it.
Back then, they had like special women's underwear. In my mind, everyone just wore the same drawers, like tighty-whitey shaped drawers, and it was cloth.
I don't think
probably.
They wore special women's underwear.
It wasn't like lacy. Did they even have lace in 1939?
I don't know, but it's not that you're kind of missing the point. It's just the point that he obsessed about the underwear that women wore. So apparently one of his teachers kept a pair of high heels in her desk drawer in case she was going out that night after work. And Jerry found out that these heels were in her desk drawer, so he stole them. And, the teacher found out, everybody found out, and everyone thought it was super weird.
They saw him?
Yeah, he was caught. He was caught with the shoes.
Red-handed.
So this obsession went on for a few years, and it seems relatively harmless, right? Because it's just shoes. It's not that big of a deal, and underwear. But one thing about Jerry Brudos, when you analyze this dude, you can clearly see the progression from a small, unconventional, weird fetish to a full-blown serial killer. When Jerry was 16, the family moved to another area of town, and Jerry's next-door neighbors in this new house were 3 teenage girls, and he became a total creeper. He was a peeping Tom. He used to hide outside their windows at night, trying to watch them change.
So he liked girls.
Yes.
I thought he might be gay because he liked women's shoes. I thought he might have tried to wear them or something.
No. He's not. He's heterosexual. He's not gay. He just has an obsession with an object, and it happens to be women's shoes. And now we'll see their underwear as well. So he became a peeping Tom. He used to hide outside their windows, and he tried to, watch them changing at night. And he was not a good-looking teenage boy.
Damn.
He moved around a lot. He had no friends because they moved from place to place. And, he was pretty weird. He was a weird kid. So needless to say, no girls were interested in him, let alone were interested in letting him get physical with them. So, what he started doing was being a super creeper, peeping Tom, and stealing the underwear off of all the clotheslines in the neighborhood.
Oh, they didn't have dryers back then. Good for him. Not good for him, but he was able to get, because you couldn't get underwear if people were standing by the dryer about to pull their clothes out of their dryers in the house. You can't really steal women's underwear now. No,
he stole the underwear off the clotheslines. What do you mean good for him?
I didn't mean it like that, but I meant it was convenient for him that there were drawers hanging out on the line.
And he stole them and took them home, and he would use them to,
Oh, he'd jerk off in the underwear?
Yes. We don't have to go into detail about it. I think everyone gets it. So over the course of a few months, the women in town complained to police because they're like, all these underwears are going missing. I don't have undies to put on.
So what did they want? Someone running around grabbing their, let me see your drawers.
This is the 40s. It's not like you have unlimited funds to go buy stuff. We're just getting out of the Great Depression. People had underwear and they needed to wear their underwear.
That is true. No, I understand their pain. Because something I brought up not too long ago was, in this house, someone steals my underwear and wears them. So there's been days where I haven't had underwear. There was a podcast where I was freeballing it and I had jeans on and the zipper was cold. So I understand their pain. And if I could have, I would have called the police on you, underwear stealer. Lock him up.
The women in the town called the police and said, our undies are going missing off of our clotheslines, and no one knew who was doing it.
In most cases, for men, it's your wife. They're like, they want to wear cotton drawers or something.
They're comfortable.
Or I got the moisture wicking joints from Costco nowadays.
So this is where Jerry progresses yet again, and things become incredibly dangerous and sinister at this point. This is where it starts to get crazy, okay? So Jerry told one of the girls at his school that he was volunteering with the police to help try to find the undie bandit, okay? And he asked her to come over to his house so he could interview her about the case. So this girl, they're in high school. She comes over his house and he lets her in the house, invites her to sit on the sofa, and he leaves the room for about 5 minutes. So she's sitting on the sofa, just kind of like, okay, this was weird. He's leaving me sitting here. He runs back in with a mask on.
Underwear mask?
No, a regular mask.
I'm thinking he has underwear pulled over his head, cut 2 eyes to where the butt goes.
No. He comes in with a regular mask on and a knife, and he holds her at knife point with the knife to her neck, and he orders her to strip down naked. She strips naked because she's terrified. She's only a teenage girl, and she's terrified at this point. He's holding this knife up to her neck. She strips down naked, and he grabs a camera and takes pictures of her. And then he runs out of the room. And she's terrified. She's grabbing her clothes, trying to put them back on really fast. And then Jerry runs back in the room without the mask on and claims that the masked man was somebody who broke into his house and locked him in the barn, and it wasn't him.
That's crazy, because I was about to ask you. I was waiting for you to finish, because I'm trying to get better at interrupting. Or not interrupting, I should say. I was going to say, why did he wear a mask? Obviously, she's in your house. They know it's you. So what, he change his clothes?
Yes. He pretended he was a different person.
She ain't this stupid. No one's this stupid.
She's not, obviously. She was freaked out because she knows it was actually him. Imagine that. Just for 1 second, think about it. This dude just held you at knife point and then runs back in the room.
Fucking Captain Panties runs in and out of the room.
And says that he is that an intruder locked him in the barn, and the whole time you know that it was actually him. How creepy and scary is that?
You got to play it off to hopefully get free.
Well, she's bawling her eyes out, terrified. She ran out of the house. But she was so scared of him and the situation, she didn't report him. So since Jerry got away with this stunt with no consequences, his crimes progressed again. One day, Jerry's leaving school, and he sees this girl from his class walking down the street alone, and he offers to give her a ride home because they're in the same class together. So she gets in, and instead of taking her home, he pulls off to a less busy street and grabs her and starts trying to kiss her and take off her clothes. She's fighting back. She manages to get out of the car and run, but he chases her down. He catches her and he starts punching her in the face.
How old is he at this point?
17.
Oh, so he's big.
A couple is driving by and sees this happening and jumps out of their car and runs up to them. The man grabs Jerry and his wife runs to a nearby house to call police. So the police show up, they arrest Jerry,
Good.
and he confesses right away that he did this. They go to his house and they start searching his room and they find everything. They find the pictures of the girl that he took, he held her at knife point and took pictures of her. They find all the pictures of the girl. They contact her and she tells them everything that happened.
That's good.
So the police arrest him and he's sent away to Oregon State Hospital. So fun fact, Oregon State Hospital is actually the hospital from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. It's the same hospital.
That's what Jack Nicholson?
Yeah. That's the hospital that book and movie was based on. So while he's in this hospital, he tells doctors that he has a fantasy of an underground jail full of women that he can just pick from and sexually torture whenever he wants.
Oh,
and he's
man.
like 17 telling these psychiatrists this. And these idiots were like, well, we'll still let you go to school. You just have to come back to the psych hospital after school every day. So they literally let this dude go to school and then he would come back to the psych hospital every single night. Because they didn't want him missing school after he told them these crazy dark fantasies. On top of the actual him describing this fantasy, he's also been incredibly violent with 2 girls. He beat a girl up and he held another girl at knife point and forced her to strip naked and took pictures of her.
Yeah.
So that is insane.
And they know about that already. That he's a
Yeah.
very violent dude. But back then, there wasn't a lot of mental health awareness as it is now. There wasn't mental health awareness when I was young.
Yeah, it's so true.
And sometimes I do think that people use mental health as an excuse. Like, it's not my fault.
Well, it depends on the situation, yeah.
Yeah, like if you've committed a bad act, I don't give a shit what your mental health problem is. If you're a violent person, no excuses. It's a wrap for you.
They diagnosed him with borderline personality disorder and schizophrenia. But like I said, they let him go to school because they didn't want him missing school, and he ends up finishing high school and graduates. They said, well, we think you're rehabilitated. This is very Ed Kemper vibes, by the way. We think you're rehabilitated. You can go back to society. And they let him out. So he ends up joining the army. But soon after enlisting...
Where he could be all he can be.
Yes. But soon after enlisting, he's sent to see the military psychiatrist because he's weird AF, obviously. So he goes to the military psychiatrist and he tells them all about these fantasies that he has. And the military is like, bro, this dude's got to go. Like they end up discharging him because he's that weird. So he goes back to Oregon to live with his mother, but she hates him. Remember? Like his mom hates him.
Yeah.
So she makes him live in the shed in the backyard.
But he was old already. Get your own place.
Yeah, he's about 20 years old.
Oh, get a job, bro. I had to live on my own at 17.
Well, he moves into the shed in the backyard and he starts stealing underwear and shoes again. But this time he's actually attacking women on the street.
Like the dude.
Like the dude here.
But
Yeah.
is he taking both shoes?
Yeah, he's taking shoes. Mm-hmm. And so it's so similar to the story you told earlier.
But it's a little different because I thought when that dude I told you about earlier was stealing shoes, I thought he'd be stealing he's stealing women's shoes, but they were Nikes. They were like running shoes. I thought he was going to be like stealing some like high heels or something. But You know what's good? If somebody stole my shoe, if I was wearing like wax shoes, I'm not letting you steal my good shoes. My good shoes are expensive. But if you steal my shoe when I'm on my way to work, like you did to these ladies, I could say I was assaulted and I ain't got to work that day. I'm like, yes.
Did he beat them up and steal them?
No, he grabbed their foot, took the shoe, and ran.
Oh, wow.
And that's it.
That's still really creepy.
They interviewed a lady and she was like, she didn't think it was like,
it wasn't violent.
It's not like a crime. Like it's, it's stealing is a crime.
And it's not violent, but it's still creepy.
He didn't like punch them in the face or nothing. But, if you ever see me wearing some Cook shoes, someone try to steal one of them, I don't have to go to work that day. I could say I've been assaulted.
Well, Jerry was actually attacking women on the street. So he was still a virgin at this time, and he's about 23 years old now. And he gets a job working as an electrician. One of his coworkers, who doesn't know like how weird he is, decides to set him up on a date with a 17-year-old girl named Darcy. So Darcy is, first of all, she's 17, so she's, younger than him.
How old is he?
He's 23.
It's really not that bad.
No, it's not that young.
It's probably not legal, but like, it's not, that's not a big age. That's like our age difference.
No, it's not a big age difference, but Darcy, is very quiet and timid and naive. And she thought to herself, oh man, this guy is older. He's responsible. He has a good job as an electrician. And she's actually like smitten by him. He was nice to her at first. And it's probably because he lost his virginity to her. So he is being nice to her. Last year, Save More Money was the most popular New Year's resolution in America. Clearly, a lot of us feel like our money is slipping through our fingers. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm not the best saver, and I don't know much about investing until I started saving and investing with Acorns. Turns out you don't have to be an expert at all because Acorns will recommend a diversified portfolio that fits you and your money goals. And I always thought that when people say, ooh, I invest in stocks, that they had a ton of money or something. Well, you don't need to be rich. Acorns lets you invest with the spare money you've got right now. You can literally start with $5. And you guys are spending that at Starbucks on these fancy lattes. So skip the coffee and invest with Acorns. You don't even need a ton of time. Like you can just sign up and start investing within 5 minutes. Head over to acorns.com/wifeofcrime or download the Acorns app to start saving and investing for your future today. That's acorns.com/wifeofcrime. You guys already know because we have been talking about them for a while now. Via Hemp is by far one of our favorite sponsors we've ever had, okay? We use their products all the time. Maybe you're a little like me. You're a little anxious. You have a hard time settling down. You're kind of wound up a lot. If that's you, Via Hemp products are for you. Check out their website. You will find something that speaks to you. Maybe you're like Russ. You have a hard time sleeping because you have bad nerve pain or chronic pain. Then Via Hemp is for you because their gummies will help you get some quality sleep. Maybe you're looking to have a really good time. Maybe you just really like edibles. You want to laugh. You want to get the munchies. You want to watch a movie and have a really strong belly laugh. Then Via Hemp products are for you, okay? They're literally for everybody. So head over to viahemp.com, promo code wifeofcrime1 to get 15% off your first order. That's viahemp.com. Wife of Crime #1 for 15% off your first order. The two get married. And shortly after, Jerry becomes pretty controlling. Like as soon as he marries her, he becomes really controlling. He's very possessive of his wife. He tells her that she has to cook and clean totally naked all the time, only wearing heels. Which sounds like something a lot of men would like for their wives to do.
I'm in.
However, even after their first child is born, he still tells her to do this. Like he could care less if his son sees his mom naked.
How old is the son?
It doesn't matter because Darcy is incredibly uncomfortable with this.
Okay.
Now that her son is there, she's very uncomfortable with this. She doesn't want to be naked in front of her son all the time. And it freaks her out that Jerry is insistent upon it. So their second kid is born. And then it's even more disgusting to her because now the older one is old enough to understand what's going on. And now there's a baby, and he still is insisting that she's naked all the time and walking around in heels. He wants to take pictures of her all the time. Like, he's just being super creepy.
No, now it's weird.
And he doesn't care that his kids see their mother like that, which is ew. So Jerry builds this dark room in his basement, and he claims he loves to take photos, that he's a photographer, right? And he forbids Darcy from being in this dark room or even going downstairs at all. He tells her she's not allowed down there.
Do you know what the number one creeper thing is that I've noticed? It's when people go out, men go out with a camera that looks good, and they say they're photographers, and that's how they meet girls in New York City. And they get them to like pose sexy, and they say they're photographers. So if you're in New York, don't fall for that shit. Say, Russ said eat a dick. And I know 30% of people in the entire New York City. So they might be like, all right, you good, you know Russ. But that's the number one creeper thing I've seen. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but there's always some fucking corn with like a camera with a lens on it. Like, bro, my iPhone got mad megapixels. Relax.
No, I've never had that happen.
And it has like, what's that? Portrait. Like, relax, bro.
No, I've never had a guy try to pick me up with a camera.
Well, I see them, and the only thing worse than that is the guy that is outside with the snake on his neck. Those dudes.
There's a guy on 46th Street who walks down 46th Street with a cat sitting on his head. The cat just sits there.
Yeah, but he's just crazy. Yeah. There's a difference. He's not trying to pick up nothing. He's just like
walking around with the cat on his head.
Yeah, like he has a litter box head.
So anyway, Jerry builds this dark room in his basement, and he tells his wife she's not allowed to go down there. But you think, like, throughout the story, as I keep telling you, I really wonder how much Darcy actually knew, because it's not like he was out here taking photos. Like, he wasn't a photographer. He's not out here taking pictures. He wasn't like doing it as a hobby, but he claims he has a dark room in his basement, which is super weird.
I mean, basements are dark.
So down in the basement, Jerry would wear his heels and even would wear women's underwear under his clothing. And he started taking photos of himself in these, women's underwear and heels. And he started leaving the photos all around the house for Darcy to find. He wanted Darcy to see them, like these cross-dressing photos.
Maybe he was hoping she was kinky, because when you're kinky, and if you find someone else that meets your kinkiness, good for you guys.
I agree, but she ignored the photos, which if I found a photo of you in my house wearing women's underwear and heels, first of all, I wouldn't be able to ignore it. Second of all, I would be like, oh, that's what we're doing. Okay. I would be a little shocked. She ignored them, though. For
the record, I have men's drawers on right now.
Well, that's good to know. Thanks for announcing it.
Because, Jess didn't wear all of them. She saved me one pair.
So she never made a thing of it or paid any attention to the photos, which actually made Jerry very angry. So he started going around the neighborhood. What?
He's
pissed.
You don't see my figure in these drawers.
No, I don't really understand.
He's walking with a switch. He's doing the model walk, one foot in front of another.
Well, I don't know, what.
Because walking in heels is hard from what it looks like.
So,
you ever see the girls that walk like chickens?
So my thing is, I don't understand this part of it. Like, I understand his obsession with women's clothing. I guess I'm a little confused on why he wanted to put the pictures out there and wanted her to give it attention.
Maybe because he wanted her to be like it, but he's embarrassed to talk about. I'm telling you why.
No, he's not embarrassed.
I'm telling you. No. He's embarrassed to talk about him and his underwear situation. He wanted to like when a celebrity leaks pics. Like Kim Kardashian leaked her and Ray J. Well, she didn't leak it. She got paid mad money.
Yeah.
But it's like you're leaking it, hoping something like, oh, that's dope. Like I'm into that too.
I guess. I don't really understand the psychology behind it. But
well, at least one of us is a ologist.
Okay. So he started going around the neighborhood and being a peeping Tom again. One night, he actually went into a woman's house. So now we see a progression again, right?
That's my biggest fear.
Now he goes in this woman's house after she falls asleep at night. He went into her bedroom. She's literally laying in bed asleep. He's going through her underwear drawer. She wakes up and starts screaming. As soon as she wakes up and screams, he jumps on top of her and starts strangling her. And then he sexually assaults her. Then he runs out of the house. And the woman didn't get a good look at his face because it's dark. She was literally asleep when he got in her house.
Was she alone in the house?
Yes, she was alone.
Fuck.
But after this, this is a huge moment for Jerry because he had never done anything. He punched the girl in the face. He beat her up earlier a couple of years ago, and he forced the girl to get naked. But this is the first time that he, raped somebody and actually hurt someone in this type of way. And it's the first time that he broke into someone's house and did all that. So this was a progression.
And he's still in his 20s at this point?
Yeah. So after this, Jerry would progress to a full-blown killer. On January 26th, 1968, a 19-year-old woman named Linda Slauson was going door to door selling encyclopedias. When she knocked on Brudos' residence, Jerry answered and invited her in. Linda could hear the kids in the house.
And she was alone?
She was a door-to-door salesman. She sold encyclopedias.
I thought people always did that in groups.
No, she was by herself. But she heard his kids playing in the house upstairs. She heard people home.
Oh, so you feel safe.
So she didn't feel...
a family man.
Yeah, he's a family guy. She didn't feel intimidated or worried. He invited her in the house, and then he says, hey, let's go downstairs. I'm going to show you where I would keep the encyclopedias down in the basement. She follows him down to the basement, and once down there, he immediately attacks her, and then he grabs a 2x4 and hits her on the head with it and strangles her. He then goes up to Darcy, his wife, who is upstairs, literally, and says, here's some money. Take the kids out for some ice cream. So Darcy leaves the house.
That didn't make enough noise to, like there was no noise? She didn't scream?
He hit her on the head and knocked her out.
Maybe from behind.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. I wasn't there.
So it seems like there was no struggle if the family didn't hear it.
Yeah, exactly. So he gives Darcy money and says, take the kids out for ice cream. And this is where it gets nasty. Jerry then assaults Linda's body. He dresses her up and takes photos of her.
She's still alive, right?
No, she's dead.
From one hit to the head?
And strangled her.
The strangle. Damn.
Then he saws off one of her feet, puts it in a freezer bag, and puts it in his freezer. And he used this as like a trophy. And he would take the foot out, put high heels on it. He took pictures of it. He kept it as like a trophy.
What?
Later that night, while the family was asleep, he took Linda's body and dumped her in the Long Tom River. So Jerry moved his family.
And the foot?
No, he kept it. He kept it as a trophy in his freezer.
Wait.
In the basement freezer.
I was about to say,
No, there's a freezer in the basement that his wife didn't ever go downstairs, and that was in there.
Dang.
As a wife, I'm sorry, I would be nosy AF. I'm already very nosy, so I would be super nosy.
You come from a long line of nosiness.
And I would go down to that basement when you're not home, and I would look all through it.
Well, all right.
And I would definitely find the foot.
Jess's level
I would have found it in like a
nosiness
day because I'm super nosy.
Is so extreme because I'm in the bed with her, right? It could be 1 a.m. I get up and I'm walking. I just get out the bed. She's like, "Where you going?" I'm probably going to the bathroom. What do you mean? I'm in my underwear that you let me wear my own underwear.
Whatever.
It'll be 1 a.m. Where you going? Going to get a haircut.
I know.
What is... Well, everywhere I go is where you going.
If you were a serial killer, I'd find out ASAP. Okay, I'd find out right away. So Jerry moved his family again, this time to a home with a detached garage. When he found this house with a detached garage, he was super excited because now he had a whole garage to himself that he wouldn't allow his family in, and he could do all of his dirty deeds. So now it's been about 10 months since he killed Linda. And we know one hallmark with serial killers is that they have this like cooling off period.
I didn't know that.
Well, now you do.
As a profiler, you just added something to my repertoire.
So they have a cooling off period usually between the kills that they do. And there's a decent amount of time where they get this high from killing someone, then they kind of cool off, then the urge builds again, then they do it again. And that's kind of a hallmark of serial killers. So, Jerry Brudos actually had a decent amount of time between his murders. So he was driving home on November 26th in 1968, and he sees a woman named Jan Whitney stranded on the side of the road because her car broke down. He pulls over, and he pretends he wanted to help her. He says, "Oh yeah, I can fix your car. We just have to go back to my house and grab some tools."
I'll wait right here.
Well, this was literally 1968, and people didn't do that. She trusted him. He seemed like a nice guy. She gets in his car. She goes back to his house. I mean, he did take her back to his house. She's sitting in the driveway, waiting for him to grab his tools. He comes back with the tools, and he puts them in the backseat of the car. And as soon as he does that, he had a rope in his other hand. He wraps it around her neck and strangles her in the car, in the driveway. He takes her body into the garage, and he hangs her body on a hook.
What?
For 5 days.
Wait, but she's dead.
Yes. He strangles her in the car.
No, it's all bad. I was just thinking like he didn't hang her and she's alive type stuff.
She's hanging on a hook for 5 days.
In the garage.
In the garage.
Now he's turning into like scary movie territory.
He's been scary to me. I'm sorry, but since he started being a peeping Tom and doing all that shit, it's scary. Stealing undies, that's scary to me.
No, stealing undies isn't Chainsaw Massacre.
So he took his family away for a vacation. And while away, her body is still hanging in the garage. While the family is away, a car randomly hits his garage. Like a total random situation. The police show up.
Woman driver.
The police show up to the house and they don't get to look inside the garage because he has the windows boarded up. So the car hits the garage, but it didn't make enough damage where police have to like go in the garage or inspect it. But imagine if they did, they would see Jan's body hanging from the ceiling in the garage.
No one would inspect the inside of the garage. It's about the accident. But
if it were damaging it enough, it could have like opened a wall or whatever. But it didn't. It was just a small hit. It was a close call.
Wow, he could have been busted.
Yeah, so Jerry got freaked out because he was afraid he would have gotten caught. So he brings his family home from vacation and he disposes of her body in the Long Tom River. So now he's getting bold, right? He's getting bold because he's getting away with all this stuff and no consequences are happening. So he thinks he's smarter than everybody. That's how that's how serial killers are. They think they're smarter than everyone. They think they're smarter than police. They're usually giant narcissists. So now he's starting to get really bold. He goes to a parking garage and he abducts a young woman named Karen Sprinker, who had just got out of her car after parking it. She went to go grab lunch with her mom. And she parks her car. He grabs her just in the middle of the day in this parking garage. And he takes her back to his garage. He hangs her by the neck in the garage on her her tippy toes. No, she's not dead. He leaves just enough slack so she's on her tippy toes. So if for a second she like relaxes her legs, she dies. And eventually she gets exhausted of leaving herself up on her tippy toes that she dies.
Wow.
He goes back into the garage after going to have dinner with his family, knowing that she's in there hanging. He goes back in the garage and he makes a paper mache cast of her abdomen and chest. And then he lets it dry and paints it bronze. He then abuses her body
The fuck who went to Michael's? This guy thinks he's arts and craft ass motherfucker.
Yeah, I guess. And then he goes and disposes her body in the Longtime River as well.
So he keeps the cast of her body.
He keeps it. Yeah, he keeps it.
Oh, he's getting nuts. Is there like a movie about this dude?
No, but it gets even crazier. So her family starts organizing a search party, and police are actively investigating her disappearance. Meanwhile, Jerry...
This is stressing me out, boy. I think all you people out there, man, like I always tell Jess, like carry your pepper spray. You know, women need a way to defend themselves, man, because
I know
there's a lot of creeps out there. And I tell Jess, carry a pepper spray. And I'm like, where is it? And she's like, it's in my purse when she's walking out of work. And I'm like, but what are you going to do? Say, hold on, it's in my purse? It needs to be in your hand while you're walking to your car when it's dark outside, and or not just dark outside, when it's not a busy place.
Yeah, because he did this in broad daylight.
Because it's not heavy.
Yeah.
Pepper spray isn't heavy. Keep it in your hand. Most of us have our phones in our hands at all time. So you can't tell me you couldn't just put your phone in your purse.
No, you're right.
And and keep your pepper spray in your hand, because you need to have a discouragement. I don't know. I just made that word up. That ain't even a word, I guarantee. But you need to deter people.
Yeah.
From this. Get pepper spray, folks. I'm gonna have to figure out a way to get. I'm gonna try to go to Alibaba, right? And I'm gonna try to get it in bulk. And we gotta send it out to everybody.
Okay.
Ain't no wife of crime listeners going out like that, son.
Okay.
We'll get it in bulk. If you need pepper spray, hit me up.
You're going to get a lot of people hitting you up.
Damn, maybe not. Well, you know what? Don't hit me up. Like,
just go buy pepper
spray. Bro,
spray.
It's like $5-10. just get it. If I could give it to you, I would give it to you. Like, I got $5. If I saw you in the street, I'm like, yo, take that. Take care of yourself. But if you could just deter someone and spray them in the face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 100%.
Do that.
So her family organized a search party, and police are actively investigating her disappearance. Meanwhile, Jerry is getting even more ballsy.
He's pissing me off.
He's now attacking women more often.
I'll smoke him.
So his next attack is on a woman in the same parking garage. Her name is Sharon Wood. She's walking to her car, and he comes up behind her and grabs her. But Sharon fights.
Let's go.
Like crazy. She's fighting him, and she manages to grab Jerry's hand, and she puts his thumb in her mouth and bites him as hard as she possibly can. Like tries to bite his finger off.
Let's go.
Jerry gets spooked by this, by how tenacious she is, and how much
stay
of a fight
fit, stay alive.
She's
strong.
And Sharon ends up running away because she's biting him hard, and he loosens his grip, and she runs away. She immediately goes to police and reports the incident. But Jerry, kind of freaked out by that, decides, maybe I shouldn't go for women that are older. Maybe I should go for a younger woman. So he decides to attack a young girl who's 12 years old.
Oh, that's crazy.
Named Gloria, who's walking to school. He comes up behind Gloria, and he holds a gun to her back, ordering her to walk towards his car.
Is it a gun or is it his fingers?
It's a gun.
Oh, it's a real gun.
Suddenly, the girl sees a neighbor in her front yard watering flowers and starts to scream and create a scene. Jerry lets the girl go because the neighbor now sees him, and the little girl runs to the neighbor, and Jerry runs in his car and drives away.
Thank God. This dude is pissing me off.
So he realized that his tactic isn't working so well. So what he decides to do now is get a fake police badge and a fake uniform and starts dressing like a police officer, knowing that people will trust him. He walks up to a woman in the same parking garage that he had attacked women in the past, and she had a bunch of shopping bags. He claimed that she was shoplifting. And she's like, no, I wasn't. I bought all of these. And he's like, no, they saw you steal this. We need to take you to the station and question you. So he puts her in the back of his car, and she really believes he's a cop because she thinks that he is taking her to the station to question her so she can prove that she really bought these items. But he doesn't. He takes her to his garage and he kills her, assaults her, and photographs her, just like the other women. And he puts her body in the Long Tom River as well. Now, a few weeks after this murder...
Does he, like, just throw them in and let them float away? Or is
no,
he, like,
he
burying
weighs them down. He has them tied with a rope to... One of them was to, like, a transmission from a car to cinder blocks, and he weighs them down in the river. But I
think, in my mind, after the body starts to deteriorate, it's going to float up, right?
So that's what happens. So a few weeks after this murder, 2 of the women's bodies were discovered because they floated to the surface.
Look at me.
You profiled it, yep.
I'm good.
The town was absolutely...
Even though I'm uncomfortable.
The town was absolutely horrified. Jerry was confident that they would never be able to tie him to the crime because he's a serial killer and he thinks that he's smarter than everyone.
And there's no DNA back then.
Yeah, there's no DNA. So he's confident about this. He's like, whatever. They're never going to tie me to this. But police noticed that the knot in the rope used to tie up the victims and to tie the victims to the items that weighed them down was a very unique knot that only electricians use.
Oh, shit.
When pulling wire.
I bet one of the policemen was an electrician back, like, before he was a policeman.
Maybe. Or they knew electricians. So cops start looking into local electricians. And meanwhile, they start, talking to people in the area. And they decide, these are all young women. So let's go to the college. Let's talk to the girls at the local college and see if there's some creeper hanging around that's being weird and see if we can get any information. So the cops, they ask hundreds of girls if there's like a creepy dude hanging around the college, and these girls say yes. They end up getting a description of the man, and they identified him. And the cops also found out that he was an electrician.
And it's him.
And it's Jerry.
It's the panty bandit.
So cops knock on Jerry's door. And, they don't have a search warrant. They don't have an arrest warrant yet because they need to build a case. They need to be able to tie Jerry, the guy that these girls have identified, and who is an electrician. They need to be able to tie him to the crime. So they knock on his door and they just tell him, we're going around the neighborhood asking questions about these bodies that have been discovered. We need a little more information. We're just trying to see if anyone knows anything. Jerry invites the cops because, he's cocky. He's cocky and arrogant.
Because he got away with a lot of shit, this motherfucker.
He invites them into his garage.
No.
He does. Where he did all these nasty crimes.
He must have cleaned it up, I guess.
He did, but he's a cocky son of a bitch.
And there's no DNA.
Well, while in there, cops are looking around and they notice a rope that is hanging from the ceiling. And it's the same rope that he used on the pulley system to hang the women, right? So the cops keep looking at it. And Jerry is so cocky that he asks them, he says, you keep paying a lot of attention to that rope. And the cops are like, oh yeah, it's a nice rope. And Jerry's like, you want a piece of it? You want a piece of the rope? And the cops are like, sure, we'll take a piece of the rope.
But they can't do nothing with the rope, right?
Well, they did. They don't
got fibers back then.
They have fibers. What do you mean?
Like, I know that they existed but they don't have like a way to prove a laboratory.
Well, they actually do.
Bullshit.
Jerry is just so cocky.
Everything was black and white back then.
Jerry is just so cocky and arrogant that he literally gives them this rope because in his mind, he's smarter than him. He's never going to get caught.
What's that saying? You're going to you hang yourself with the rope, or you're going to hang yourself. There's a saying.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, you should know it. You're the host.
I don't know. He says, you want a piece of that rope? I'll cut it for you. And the cop's like, sure, of course I do. So he does. They match the rope from Jerry's garage with the rope that is tied on the women.
I bet back then there were a lot, like, everyone had the same rope. Like, did they have magnifying glasses back then?
Babe, I don't know.
They probably didn't.
I don't know how they did it.
Maybe they did, because you could have 2 pieces of glass or 3 pieces of glass together.
I don't know how they did it, I wasn't there, but I just know from the internet research that I've done on this case, which is a couple of YouTube videos and some podcast episodes, that they matched the rope to the rope on the women. And I don't know how they did it because I wasn't there.
I feel like it wasn't that scientific. The fibers didn't match.
It doesn't matter because all they needed was a search warrant of his house and car. So they needed a way to get a search warrant. So after this, Jerry quickly cleaned his car. He left it soaking wet because the police get a search warrant of his car. But since it's all wet inside, they couldn't get any physical evidence from it. Okay? But the little girl, Gloria, the 12-year-old, she identified him in a lineup.
Let's go.
This is the guy that held me at gunpoint. So the cops get an arrest warrant in May of 1969, and they find Jerry and his wife, Darcy, driving on the highway all the way to the Canadian border. They were right near the Canadian border, but the police catch up to him and arrest him.
That's nuts.
So Detective Jim Stovall is the one that interrogated Brudos first, and he interrogated him for hours. But he came at him in a really good way because he knows this is a serial... Well, at the time, they didn't have the term serial killer. But he knows that this is a terrible, like, despicable human being. So he
grimy shit.
Yeah, so he was like, all right, how can I interview this guy and really get him to talk? So he decides to play the good cop. And he starts, talking to Jerry, like, trying to get him to brag almost. To brag about his crimes. And eventually he starts bragging. He starts wanting the Detective Stovall's approval. And after a few hours, he gets a full confession from Jerry.
What?
So they obtained a search warrant of his home, and police find everything.
So Jerry was proud of it.
Yeah. Eventually. He wanted to impress this detective. And the detective caught on to that pretty quickly, and he kind of played to that. He played the good cop. And then eventually Jerry started bragging about all of his crimes, and then he got a full confession out of him.
Stovall was an early profiler in the game.
Yeah, he was.
He was a pioneer.
So they get a search warrant, they search his house, and they find everything. Photos, they find the foot in the freezer, they find...
Wait.
He had the same...
He didn't get a new foot?
No, he had the same lady's foot in the freezer. They find it. They find all the pictures of all the dead women. They find everything. So Brudos, he tried the insanity plea, but...
I mean, he is crazy, but there's no defense to what you did.
But he's not insane. That we've talked about this many times. There's a very big difference between insane, which means you don't know what you're doing, which means you're so...
It doesn't matter. If you don't know what you're doing and you're still doing it, you're no good.
But you can plead insanity and be put in a hospital for the criminally insane.
I don't care.
Which is not the same thing as jail or prison, but it's still pretty bad.
Give him that thing they put in the eye from American Horror Story.
Oh, a lobotomy.
Yeah, give him the metal in the eye. Fucking incapacitate. That was a terrible pronunciation of that. But, put the metal in the eye and bang it in his eye lobe.
Well,
Wait, there's not an eye lobe either. God damn it.
So
That's an earlobe.
I can't.
Shit. They're gonna roast me.
You're like 5 beers in and an entire glass of whiskey in, so I'll give you a pass on that.
I don't need a pass.
An eye lobe.
I'm here, baby. Hashtag eye lobe.
So Jerry tries to plead the insanity plea, but 7 psychiatrists all agreed he's not criminally insane. He knew exactly what he was doing. He planned all of this out, and he could not use the insanity plea. Darcy, his wife, was charged as an accomplice because police, they couldn't believe his wife lived in the same house where these crimes took place and had no idea about them. But she pleaded not guilty, and she was found not guilty, and she was released.
I don't know. I think she might have been a victim of abuse, and she might have been scared. And even when she was testifying, she could have been scared. But
do you think she knew something? Because I think
think she
maybe
knew
she
something.
hated him so much because she really hated her husband. I mean, she couldn't stand his ass. So maybe she just was like, oh yeah, go in your garage, get the fuck out of here. Like, I don't even want you in my house because you're so annoying and disgusting and I hate you. She probably would rather him just be in the garage all the time and never be part of the family. So she didn't have any interest in going in the garage. That's a possibility. Or if she was nosy like me, she went in and saw it and never reported it.
yeah, but you're like a new age bossy woman. She's from like the traditional era, like
Where she just don't say anything.
yeah, like you're from the era where you had man's underwear.
So
Back then, they didn't wear man's underwear. It was a role. Like, so she was wearing women's underwear.
whatever. So
I lost my train of thought. I had more to say, but I forgot.
Darcy was found not guilty and she was released. Jerry.
No, wait, that's where I was. She knew something. She knew something. But just because you know something, she was a victim as well. You know, she went through a lot. He might not could have hit her, but he was abusive.
Yeah. So either she knew something crazy was going on and she was scared and abused by him, or she completely, like I said, hated him and didn't even want to know what was going on in that garage.
I don't believe that. I believe she knew, stay out the garage. That was his zone. And if you go in there, he's going to beat you up.
But do you think she knew what was going on in there?
Nah, I don't think she knew there was killing.
So you just said you thought she knew something. Now you said you don't think she knew?
But she knew he was violent.
Yeah, of course.
Like, she knew that, like, he might not have regard for life because he might could beat the shit out of her.
Yeah, but do you think she knew he was killing people?
I think she knew he could be killing people.
Like, it's a possibility.
Yeah, like, I'm just... Like,
but she chose to stay naive about it. Like, blissfully ignorant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hashtag Russ
So we
the
kind of
profiler.
agree then. You're pretty much agreeing with me. Jerry Brudos received 3 life sentences and managed to build a library in his cell. So he gets 3 life sentences. He didn't get sentenced to death, which was crazy to me. Didn't get a death sentence. But he got 3 life sentences, and he managed to build a library in his cell of women's clothes and shoe magazines. And I don't know if you remember in Mindhunter, he was in the show Mindhunter.
Oh, he was?
Yeah. When they were interviewing Ed Kemper, they brought Jerry Brudos in and they gave him a box of women's shoes. You remember? Do you remember that part?
I remember the shoes.
They gave him a box of women's shoes.
I thought that was the Kemper.
To try to get information from him, get him to talk about his his crimes and his psychology behind why he has this obsession with women's shoes. And in the show, he didn't end up talking. He just masturbated to them and left.
I remember. You know what? After
remember
you
that
said
part?
masturbate, now I remember.
So in 2006, at the age of 67, Jerry Brudos died of liver cancer in jail. Ding dong,
Rotten
the
pieces,
witch is dead.
You piece of shit.
Yeah, terrible human being.
What year?
2006.
He lived till he was old.
67. He wasn't that old. I mean,
Oh.
yeah, 67 is not
67
terribly
is
old.
now. No, that's not life expectancy. As a man, my goal is 80.
Yeah, so
Really, 85. I want to make it to 85.
So yeah, Jerry Brudos died of liver cancer. And that's it. That is your serial killer, folks, that you wanted me to cover.
I hope he got treated bad in jail.
I hope so too. He's a terrible human being.
I hope they hit him in the head with high heels in his ear.
I'm curious what the other inmates thought of him. Like, being that he had all of these women's clothing and shoe magazines. But Jerry was like a big dude. He wasn't small. He was like big. He was
What's big?
overweight.
Height?
He was also really tall. Yeah. So I'm curious how he was treated in jail.
I think I may be wrong, but I think when you go to jail and you're like in the death sentence area.
He wasn't, because I told you he didn't get the death sentence. He got 3 life sentences.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
But they probably left him alone.
You think they left him alone? Really?
I don't know.
Maybe they thought he's too weird. They don't even want to deal with him.
I'm not a jail expert, thank God.
That's good.
Your boy just did some overnighters in the Bookings. The Bookings is the worst. There's so many bums in there.
Yeah.
But the real veterans just lay under the bench and go to sleep. I learned that after a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it'd be fucking water bugs.
Ew, water bugs are the worst. They're so nasty.
My best time getting locked up in the bookings, I had a hoodie.
Mm-hmm.
They take the strings, though, out of everything.
Well, yeah, because you could hang yourself or strangle someone
Anyway,
with them.
strangling no...
You don't think anyone would strangle someone with the strings from the hoodie?
Most
100%
like,
they
not in
could.
the bookings. The bookings, most people are going home. It's crazy because they arrest a lot of people from like, it's like Dominican cab drivers and shit. Like, they got to relax with that.
Oh,
like,
so the bookings is like people who are just arrested waiting to see a judge, but don't they put like real bad people in there too?
Oh, yeah, because the people that also murdered people are in there too.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, but most crimes aren't that serious. I'd bet like probably 2 out of 100 crimes, maybe 1 out of 100 are like some serious crimes. But there's also people going in there for 20 that for selling weed when I was in there a couple times, which is crazy too.
Yeah.
But I'm free.
That's good. Glad you're here.
I never did nothing crazy.
No, you got arrested for dumb shit. But
Yeah,
mostly because you have a big mouth and you like to talk a lot of shit, especially when someone is trying to, stop you, pull you over.
Well, because
things like that.
Like I'm driving 35 miles an hour. Like, relax. Or tints on my car. Like, to pull you, New York will pull you over for tints.
Yeah.
Like, you just
You murdered somebody.
killed it. Like, you just stole underwear off a line and killed mad people. And you, like...
And all you have is tints.
Yeah, like, for tints on your front windows.
But the reason you don't get arrested for being pulled over for tints, you get arrested because you have a big mouth and you tell them...
No, you
SMD.
you get arrested for SMD.
Yeah.
But that's not illegal either.
Talking shit is not illegal.
It's not. But in
Yeah.
New York, man, New York's a weird place.
It's over-policed. It is.
Yeah, anyone hiring in a nice, calm state with a good job, I'll dip.
You would. New York is not calm at all. It would never be described as calm.
Your boy wants to relax.
All right, everyone. Well, have a wonderful 2 weeks. We'll be back. It's Big Russ's birthday on Saturday. We're going away. So everyone wish Russ a happy birthday. He's turning 29 for the 12th time.
No. I'm 29. That's it. Don't.
It's
not
the
amazing.
12th anniversary of his 29th birthday.
You a snitch, boy.
You've said it many times.
Yeah, but your boy is fine like wine.
Yes, you are. So if you want to check us out on our socials, you can follow us on Instagram at Wife of Crime Pod, Facebook at Wife of Crime The Crime Family, Patreon at patreon.com/Wife of Crime Pod.
Hold up. Get the merch, baby. We got some dope merch.
We do have some dope merch. We have some new merch in the works. Yes, I'm currently working with my girl Jade.
Oh, Jade's dope.
Dead Inside Design. We're going to get some designs going.
Oh, she's the best.
She is the best. So, look out for that in the next upcoming months. And we will check you later.
And we got tank tops. Be summertime fine, baby.
All right, everybody. Have a wonderful week. Bye.
Peace.